春
The show is called The Rising of the Shield Hero. It's a stock standard isekai.
Doesn't he have a slave girl?
Yeah, it's not great. It sounds worse than it is. But
Look, I feel like if you could
Have you met my slave girl?
this show kind of feels like an incel got cancelled and then wrote a show about it.
like 100%.
Hello, and welcome back to Gateway to Anime. How are you all? What's going on, Charlie? How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Excited to talk about some new anime, some good returning ones, and some just lit new ones.
Some
Bangers.
new ones.
Yeah.
Graham, how are you, my friend? What's happening?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm enjoying my tasty beverage.
Indeed. Nice thing to have whilst we talk about the spring 2022 anime season roundup, as we want to do. We always do this every anime season. So we're going to talk to you about what new shows we're watching at the time of recording this podcast. Just the third episodes of most shows are now starting to come out. So we've had a bit of time to, watch a few things, drop a few things, and we're just going to give you what we think is worth watching, what's not worth watching, and you can follow our recommendations or you can't. It's up to you. So let's talk about the show of the season, hotly anticipated. We've mentioned it a couple of times. I think in your first ever episode about the manga.
Yeah, I think I
Mangaverse Comics, we brought it up. It's been a hotly anticipated manga for a long time, and it's absolutely killing it left, right, and center. So, Graham, why don't you talk to us about Spy X Family or Spy Family?
Yeah, what is it?
It's just Spy Family.
Spy Times Family?
It's a bit like Hunter or Hunter x Hunter. You actually drop the X, I believe.
I think it's just Spy Family.
I think it's just Spy Family.
Spy Family?
But it's spelt Spy X Family, so take that as you will.
If you want to Google it, chuck the X in.
Check the X in, but if you want to say it and not look like a dope, like I just
Like
did.
a rube?
Like a rube, like a fool.
Like a goddamn rube.
Goddamn fool.
I was saying Hunter x Hunter for too long.
I still say it.
I would say Hunter x Hunter.
It's like Suikoden and Suikoden. It's called Suikoden. I'm done.
Don't put a
here
random
with
letter
that.
in there. Like all the collaboration things, say it's this, X, this. I'm like, don't put the fucking
Put that in there. Anyway, let's talk about Spy Family because it is very good. Graham.
First, I'd like to start off with saying what a pleasure and an honor it is to go first for once.
Hey.
I'm normally in the back quarter with some shit. And now I'm up here in the lofty heights of Sam.
I'm giving you the best show, too.
I don't even have the notes to back it up.
God damn it. One chance.
It's a show called Spy X Family.
It's already failed.
We're done. It's done. Yeah, I'll give you the little brief synopsis of it. So, Spy X Family, created by Tatsuya Endo. It's about two warring nations, but maybe a Cold War situation. Don't really know the setting. Maybe Eastern Europe kind of feels like that.
It's like a fictional Eastern Europe.
Yeah, Cold War, spy, Bond type deal. And
Classic Bond.
Yeah, and it follows the mission of the main protagonist, whose code name is Twilight. I don't think we know his real name, do we? I think it's just Twilight, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, he has thousands of names, obviously, because he's
going
Yeah,
as
he's a
international
spy.
man
He's a
of
spy.
mystery.
going
Yes.
as Lloyd Fortune.
And
Lloyd,
he
yeah.
is the leader he's got to get to is super reclusive. The only thing he does tend to attend to is the activities of his son, who's in a very elite boarding school. So Twilight has to sort of make a family. He has to adopt a daughter. He has to try and get that daughter into the school so that he can do his spy Michigos. And he also has to get a wife as well. And the particular people that he sort of, I don't want to say recruits because he actually adopts the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Anya, who it turns out has psychic powers,
Of course.
which is such a great little element to the show.
It's great.
It adds so much comedy, and I want to protect her from everything. Like the whole thing about her, like her favorite foods are peanuts and she hates carrots. I'm like, yeah, of course you do. I love her, man. She's so good.
I love that she's also an idiot. Like it's
Oh,
so bad
she's-
because
yeah, she is.
Great character.
because she can read minds. You kind of think like genius kid, but it's like even an actual 6-year-old could read minds. Like it's quite realistic. Like she
It's
literally
so
doesn't
good.
like it's so good.
And she's got, like, because she's a child, she has no real life experience as well. So when they measure her for their school uniform, the tailor's like, I'm going to measure you now. And her response is like, I'm being sold.
Yeah, it's so good.
Into like child. It's such a, and then
Because she's been brought back to the orphanage
Yeah,
many times.
yeah,
Because
so
she gets there real cheap because she's
Well, the guy
obviously
just
been-
gives her away,
Yeah,
and
she's
he's
been brought
like,
back so many times because everyone freaks out when they don't know she can read minds, but obviously she's off because she's doing things because she's reading minds, right? So
the guy who runs the adoption agency was like, yeah, she's one of my finest. She's intelligent, blah. But his in a monologue was like, take that freak and get her, out of here.
Yeah,
So that relationship, the dynamic between them is even in a few episodes, you're like, this is great.
it's great. It's
Eventually this will bring me to tears at some
oh
point.
yeah, because she knows obviously what her father's doing too. You know,
Yeah, and
knows
she
that
thinks
he's
it's the coolest thing in the world.
yeah, he's a
And
he's
he
an
has no
spy.
idea that she can read
Yeah.
minds.
He's got no clue.
She's like, he's literally thinking this girl's either a genius or she's an absolute idiot. Like, because she reads like the crossword she does in the orphanage, which like she feels that, but it's off of his answering the
Yeah.
questions in real time. And there's a lot of that going on. And the other dynamic of the family is the wife who they meet at a tailor. I don't even know what it was. It was a tailor shop.
It wasn't
Yeah.
a tailor.
It was a tailor shop. Her name is Yor. She's very quiet, spoken, quite diminutive. But it turns out she is like a hardcore assassin, like a brutal assassin.
Thorn Princess.
Thorn
Princess, because
Princess.
she kills people with giant spikes,
Yeah.
and she's so hardcore.
But then in her workplace, she's like a complete nobody and like
Yeah.
gets bullied actually. you
Yeah,
know, like
hardcore
it's-
bullied.
And
Pretty intense,
she
actually.
has to get a husband because in this particular society, it's like if you're a single woman, then you're accused of being a spy because like a spy activity
Everyone's
is
spying on everybody. It's
right.
very, yeah, the
So
Cold
it's
War
like
thing.
it just so happens that she fits perfectly into needing like they all need to use each other for a goal.
Yeah, to stay safe.
But obviously they're going to develop
Oh, there's
real
gonna- it's gonna
emotions
be
and
so good.
feelings.
It's such a good premise because it's just like
It's so funny.
it's batshit bonkers, you know what I mean? Which is everything I like about anime. You know what I mean? It's just
Mm.
like you got the international spy, you've got the international assassin. They don't know that's Mr. and Mrs. Smith kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then you're the Americans, and then you've got but also the adopted daughter reads minds. And then a character who'll be arriving soon is a dog called Bond who can see the future. And then like I'm just like yes,
more.
Like this is everything I want in anime. It's batshit, it's crazy. It looks incredible.
That does look great.
It's being done by two studios simultaneously. When you talk a little bit about that, actually, it's quite interesting.
Oh, you can fill me on the studios because I completely forgot.
I can.
Cloverworks?
Cloverworks
Wit.
and Studio Wit. Now, Studio Wit, obviously one of our absolute favorites here. Attack on Titan, the first 3 seasons.
Vinland Saga.
Vinland Saga.
Sorry, I have to start
Never
watching
go out
it.
about. They've done The Great Pretender, Vivi Fluorite Eyes Song. So many wonderful these. They're a subsidiary of Production IG, who I'll talk about later in one of my shows. It's very interesting because, like when I mentioned, I think it was the winter season a couple back, I talked about a show called Takt Op Destiny, which was an anime original. One episode would be done by Madhouse and the other one would be done by Mappa, and they kept alternating until the end of the show. Quite interesting. Caused a bit of controversy because a lot of the fans were like, oh, wait a minute, that second episode by Mappa wasn't as good, and all that crap. It wasn't necessarily incorrect, but it was just like, calm down. So this one is being done by Wit and Cloverworks simultaneously. And first episode was Wit, second episode Cloverworks.
Both
And then
excellent.
third
I
will be
didn't
Wit,
notice
fourth will be Cloverworks.
Any
No,
difference
me
between
either.
them?
None at all.
Flawless.
And it's interesting. It's obviously something that they're trialing to do more because the Takt Op Destiny was, at least to my knowledge, the first time I'd seen it done, at least in that
Like a
capacity.
dual studio.
Dual studio. Like, yes,
Yeah.
studios often collaborate, often send work to each other to, finish, but never have I seen it where they actually alternate each episode. Clearly, there's a director overseeing the whole process and the whole project, but it's quite an interesting thing. And I guess they do it to lessen workloads, which, as we know, are a lot in the anime industry. So I think it's really interesting and it looks great.
I think it's great, especially the studios are both on that same par.
Mm.
Like, if you never told me the two studios are doing it from episode to episode, I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah,
Like, I think beautifully animated in both episodes.
it looks great.
And the comic timing's still great. In the
It's
second episode,
funny.
that proposal scene is so fucking.
It's actually really funny, and it's, again, we talked about in the comedy episode, like a lot of anime comedy I find hard to sort of translate, into a Western lens. But this one is pretty easy to digest. It's batshit. You just heard the premise.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, it's mental, but it's fun.
It's spies, it's assassins, but it's also hilarious.
Wholesome as well.
It's so wholesome.
Yeah.
Like the scene where she snuggles up to him on the couch and stuff like that because she's like, oh, this guy might be the one that actually I get to stay with.
Might be my father.
Oh, no.
This
Yeah.
might
It's
be
so
my thing.
wholesome.
And they're just napping. And I'm like, oh.
It's so nice. Yeah, it's great.
Lloyd
It's-
is best boy.
Lloyd is
Lloyd is
Lloyd's
best boy,
great.
right?
You're a Lloyd fan, huh?
Of course.
I mean, his name's Twilight and he's pretty fucking hot as well.
He's a hot spy
very
who has
sleepy,
a heart
though.
of gold.
Not very sleepy.
He looks like he
He
needs
slept
some
on a couch
sleep.
in the first episode.
He's tired. He's
suppose
a
he was
double
napping
life.
with
Yeah, he
his-
was
yeah.
napping.
He's
Yeah.
pretending to be a psychiatrist. I love his covers for like why he's like literally
Oh,
punching people
that's great.
in the face. He's
With
just
your-
like concussive therapy. Like,
He's
just
like, I'm a
making it-
psychiatrist.
Yes. Also, Anya was saying like, "Dad is a liar." Like,
Yeah,
she's always just
yeah.
like,
Dad is a liar.
Yeah, so good.
Spy Family, check it out. It's the hit of the season. you can't really go wrong. The manga is so well regarded. It's firing on all cylinders, and there's only been just the 2 episodes at the time of recording this podcast. It's only going to get better and better. So check it out. Now I will go with
Mr. Number 2
in the middle. I've been criticized for this by these two for either opening or closing. So
I think
now-
I'm always in the middle.
Yeah, often. Oh, you close sometimes. Anyway.
I don't care.
Anyway.
Flashes to me really
Flashes to me
like
getting
kicking up
soggy
an
about it.
absolute tantrum about it. Like, pass.
Anyway, I'm going to talk about a sequel, but I haven't talked about the show before. However, around about a year ago, we actually spoke to the composer of this very show, one Kevin Penkin, and the OST, the original soundtrack, is absolutely outstanding. The show is called The Rising of the Shield Hero. Follows a 20-year-old university student and otaku called Naofumi Iwatani, who, upon inspecting a book in the local library, is whisked away to another world. We've never heard of this before. It's pushing boundaries.
It'll never work.
It's bad. It's a foolish premise. The world is a medieval fantasy setting with video game-like mechanics. Again,
Shocking.
Crazy out of control originality. He is summoned as one of 4 legendary heroes who are tasked with defending the world from the waves, which are a series of calamitous events where waves of monsters simply rain down from the sky. Whenever they've got a huge dragon glass, which sort of times it. Whenever the sand runs out, the waves arrive. And it's sort of seemingly random. It changes whenever they arrive, but they can always see it through when the glass runs out. The 4 heroes are the sword hero, the lance hero, the bow hero, and finally, Naofumi, who is the shield hero. It's like, you got the dud, nerd. Looks like you, Poindexter. So the shield hero, immediately everyone's like, this guy sucks. Like he's given no chance to prove himself, and that the king just hates him on sight because he's the shield hero, right? So that's important later. The king harbors a rather intense animosity towards Naofumi, and when it comes to the heroes to attain their party members, Naofumi is left alone, unchosen. It is then that one of the Lance Heroes party members decides to join Naofumi. So the two of them set off on a journey to level up and upgrade their equipment and prepare for the waves. However, after Naofumi's first night at the local inn, he is abruptly woken up by the palace guards, who are furious and drag him in front of the irate king. His party member, whose name is Mine, yes, who it later turns out is actually the king's daughter. That's a spoiler, but not a big one. You learn that pretty quick. She has falsely accused Naofumi of sexual assault. And given Naofumi is actually integral to the world's prosperity, the 4 heroes must fight the waves or else they'll all die kind of thing. He's actually not sent to jail or anything, but he is sent back out into the world, ostracized entirely. The whole world hates him. Everyone, basically spit on him when he walks by because they think he's a sex pest, a criminal. And, fair enough, but of course it's all lies. And that comes out later. As to why that is.
Spreading a great narrative, is it?
No, it's not. No. No. There's
You gotta like.
There are some problems. There are some problems in this show.
Statistically highly unlikely that someone's going to falsely accuse,
Less
but
than
let's make
10%.
an entire storyline about it.
My friend Lockie, who will appear on the show soon, I've mentioned several times, he made a good point. It's like, man, this show kind of feels like an incel got cancelled and then wrote a show about it.
Like 100%.
He's not wrong.
It's like, oh. So look, there are some problematic issues there, but Naofumi goes out into the world and makes his way as the shield hero, and things get better, they get worse. He builds a team, etc., etc., etc. It's a stock standard isekai, okay, and it's kind of trashy and some problematic content, and of course there's elements of like harem-y things. Again, it never actually goes there. Thankfully, it's sort of. It's on the periphery and it's indicated, but it never goes there. Thankfully, that's one thing I will certainly
Doesn't he
give
have a
credit for.
slave girl?
Yeah, it's not great. It's not
I
great.
didn't know about this.
But he's like helping her. He gets the
helping her.
slave,
She's a
and
slave.
she's like, "But I'll follow you anyway."
Yeah, look,
He's like tries
That
to
sounds
free her,
like
but she's
slavery
like,
with extra
"Anya." Isn't she like a child as well?
yeah, it's not great. Like there's some real problems here. It's really popular, but
I can't wait to see how you turn this one around.
I can't really. It's like, do I like this show? Not really. Like, it's fine.
It's huge, right? Like,
It's huge.
It's
I
so
see
popular.
those
Really
Shield
popular.
t-shirts around
Yeah,
quite a
like,
lot
it's
and
really
stuff.
popular, and it's
Like,
not
yeah,
as-
okay.
Look, I don't want to put my anime blinkers on. It sounds worse than it is, but it's
Look, I feel like if you could have
Have you
just
met my slave girl?
fuck it out.
Fuck it up.
She's 13.
It's, oh,
All right.
God, it's bad. Like in many respects, it's really bad. but it's not as bad as it's not Mushoku Tensei bad.
He doesn't like
Okay?
act on this shit.
Never.
That's the
Never,
thing.
never,
Like, the
never.
character isn't actually
No, he
a
never
sex
does
pest.
anything
He doesn't
bad.
actually
Yeah,
do
okay.
this stuff. It's
They
just that
project
obviously
things
the
onto
author
him.
is like, maybe like, wouldn't this be sick if this happened? Like, it's more kind of like, it's more like Game of Thrones style of like,
Yes.
someone just wrote it with some wishful thinking.
Yeah, yeah, like 100%.
You know?
And like,
Yeah.
it's not, like I
Yeah.
say, it's actually
The
not as
main
bad as
character's
it
not
sounds.
actually.
Yeah.
No,
about
he's
that.
actually pretty straight laced.
Apart
He's
from
quite
owning
funny.
a slave child, but,
But against the
He
way
tried
that
to free
works,
her.
He tries to
He
free
tried.
her.
He tried so
No.
hard.
Actually, he does. free
collar
her.
just wouldn't come off.
But,
Is she free and then she just like
Then she
goes with
actually
him
decides
anyway?
to go back. I don't know, man.
But that's Stockholm syndrome.
I know it is. Look, I'm not trying to defend these parts of it.
I don't know.
It's not that great.
Okay.
That's a pretty normal. To be fair, that's a pretty normal trope. Like,
Yeah, look
Every slave I freed, they just come right back.
yeah, oh my god.
Look, like I said, would I actually like say that you should go and watch this show? Probably not.
But this is season 2 we're talking about.
This is
right?
season 2.
Right, okay.
And it's very popular. And like again, if you're into isekais, if you're an isekai person, well, you've probably already watched it. If you aren't an isekai person, well, I'm not going to say you got to go watch this. ReZero is what you should watch. You know what I mean? Like that's what you should watch if you want to watch an isekai, not this, because this is just trope central. And because again, it subverts a few tropes here and there, but like,
Let me guess. The shield power actually is the best one.
how did you guess?
I don't know.
How did you guess that?
I guessed it.
That's wild.
What is
man.
the shield power, though?
Oh, it actually does some crazy things because he's so hated and has to sort of make his own. And he ends up being quite sort of ruthless and sort of being like everything he does for money. And he's like, I'll save this village, but you'll pay me.
Slave children.
And- basically, because of the hatred actually feeds the shield.
Ah.
It's sort of part of like the curse. There's a curse element of it. Not entirely, but there's one part of the power which the curse.
Wow,
hatred
did the daughter
fuels.
know about that? Was actually playing a long game?
No. They,
Oh,
they just
okay.
hate
You don't
him.
know.
They just
God
hate him.
forbid they were
Maybe.
just
No,
like,
they just hate him. The king just loads him on sight.
So I'm
Because
guessing, like, because these guys are taking up mantles that other people
The
possess.
previous
It's
Shield?
the previous shield hero fucked with
he's
the
all-
king and he hates him
Ah.
on principle. I've spoiled that, but it's pretty obvious from the start. Like, why is this guy so such animosity at Naofumi for no reason, man? That's why.
The
So,
Shield,
like,
season
The Shield.
5. Like-
Good show. Good show.
I feel like no one ever watched The Shield
So
except
good.
for you. You're
Yeah.
obsessed with The
and
Shield.
I got all my friends into
Good
it.
friend of
Everyone
mine
loved it.
loved the shield.
Dude,
He wouldn't- he
those who
still talks
know-
about it.
No.
Is he
okay?
the real Shield hero?
The real shield hero is Michael
Oh.
Chiklis. Vic Baggy. Like, that's the real
What
rising
happened to
of
Michael
shield hero.
Chiklis? You don't see him
He
around.
was in the
He was in
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
Was the thing.
But that's been it, right?
Yeah. Oh, he just pops up every now and then.
Which Fantastic Four?
The bad one.
They're all bad, aren't
Sorry,
they?
the first bad one.
The-
Oh, right. I was going to say, which is the new one worse?
2004.
Oh, the Jessica Alba,
Yeah,
Chris
yeah, yeah.
Pine?
And no, it was
Chris
Iron,
Evans.
Iron
Evans.
Grufford.
Chris Evans.
And Chris Evans.
Chris Evans, a young Chris Evans, and Michael Chiklis of the Shield.
Maybe he died and they just buried him in that costume and we just don't know about it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, the Shield
Maybe
was
he got
great. What's that?
reincarnated.
As a shield hero.
In-
As a Shield hero, he is Naofumi Iwatani.
Yeah. That's why the
Look.
king hates him. He was like, I hated Fantastic Four.
You offended
The Shield
my
was so
sensibilities.
good.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a deep
Look, just quickly, it was originally, like all isekai, it was originally a web novel by Aneko Usagi. It was later then picked up by Media Factory and published as a light novel with illustrations by Sierra Minami. Then it was, of course, picked up by Kamena Citrus, who made Made in Abyss, which, of course, is why Kevin Penkin did the music, because he was working with them on Made in Abyss. And the music is fantastic. It really, really is. It's like one of the best parts of it. And directed by Takeo Abo, who made Made in Abyss. He also worked on Cowboy Bebop and Black Lagoon. So, like, it looks good.
Yeah.
Some of the fight scenes are a bit lame. So, like, again, I watched this whole thing in preparation. I had to catch up on a whole season. So, you're welcome, everyone. And I was not really that
Don't blame
impressed.
them.
Don't blame them.
You did this to yourself.
I did this
was
to myself.
like,
I know.
why are
I'm
you doing
lashing out.
Rise
I'm
of-
lashing out.
You
I'm
just wanted
upset.
to watch it the whole time.
Not really. And
I
now I
wanted to
did.
watch it. No, I've heard mixed things about it, and I was
Yeah,
interested.
mixed is fair. I don't hate it, but I don't like it.
I'm a little bit of a
I'm
sucker
torn.
for an isekai.
So am I.
Like, I'm kind of like, because I kind of want it to happen to me, like, but maybe not this world. Maybe another world where, like,
Yeah,
things
Shield
go
Hero's
well.
rough.
Not ReZero. That would be
ReZero's
worse.
rough.
Razor is the roughest.
In fact, they're actually all bad in hindsight. I haven't learned anything from isekai. Sword Art Online?
There's one lesson.
That be okay?
No, if you're Kirito.
Yeah, if you're
sure.
Kirito. Yeah, I don't know.
I've just been reading too much manhwa. So every
Yeah.
Oh, so what was that? Memoir?
manhwa. Yes,
Manhwa.
the
Oh,
South
jeez.
Korean.
Broadway.
I recently finished Beginning at the End. You read that?
No, I've finished Solo Leveling, which is like iconic.
Memoir talk. Yes.
And also
Korean webcomics.
Omniscient Viewers.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
Omniscient.
Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint is the best one.
The
Okay.
beginning after the end is pretty good. I would recommend.
Sweet.
Okay.
It's
Little side-
It's got a little
side
bit
story
of
there?
isekai. It's a little bit of Harry Potter. It's got a little bit of everything.
Okay.
And it's really 145 chapters, and I'm just like 100 in. I was like, this isn't good. 45, I was like, give me more.
It's funny. They're like this kind of genre we're talking about. They're all very similar, and they're like the opposite of an
Literally the
isekai.
same.
It's like one day a portal opened and the monsters come into our world. So then we're like
reverse
dealing with
isekai.
it. So it's like a reverse isekai. So that's
Korea,
why I love
Japan,
it.
you know, the inverse.
Just inverse for
It's
like
all
yeah,
there,
and it's all the same
cultural
tropes
diaspora,
somehow.
if you will.
It's always someone who has the worst power ends up having the best power.
Yeah, same with the shield.
Always. So they're similar.
Yeah.
Same with Michael Chiklis.
Same-
There you go.
Just a big rock guy.
There you go.
All right, that's Rising the Shield Hero. Like I say, if you're into isekais and you just want a kind of adventure romp, it's fine, but some problems. So, Charlie, what are you going to talk to us about?
All right. Well, I won't talk about my sequel because you just did a sequel. So I'll talk about my original. Not original, sorry, adapted from a manga, which I then went and read after watching this episode. So similarly to last time when I talked about Blue Period, I think this is a very similar show in terms of vibe. This one's called Danseur, spelled Dansuer, which is actually a term for when a male ballet dancer has got given the right to play the prince. So apparently in terms of ballet, it's like you have the company, there's like principal dancers and everything. Being told that you're the danseur means that you're qualified to dance the prince role in things like Swan Lake, which means that you can do anything. That's like the top tier.
It's the top.
And only certain dancers have like the right build, look. Like you have to be really hot. Basically,
we've all seen Center Stage.
Yeah, you got to be that guy.
You got to be that guy.
Yeah, he's probably a dancer, I'd say.
Yes, I'd say he almost certainly was.
But this show's called Dancer, and it is done by Studio Mappa,
Hey.
which
Just for a change.
they do everything. So I wasn't shocked when the name popped up. I was like, oh, okay.
Another one from Mappa.
But this is interesting. It sort of
Paul
reminds me,
Staff,
I
man.
always forget that Mappa did Yuri on Ice.
Yeah, it was their first show.
Always forget. And that was,
Was one of them. Anyway.
yeah. And this show, I think in terms of the way, because there's a couple of animes about ballet. There's Princess Tutu, there's a couple of them. And there's one called Welcome to the Ballroom. And it is not good. It's like terribly animated and really problematic storyline.
Okay.
And I was worried this would be like that.
Is it a dance show as well?
Yeah, it's about like a similar storyline,
right,
which is
okay.
like everyday guy. So it's about a character called Junpei who it opens with him as a young boy. He's at his sister's dance recital. He's like falling asleep and she's doing ballet. Like she's second from the back. No one cares. She's not good. She's not going to make it as ballerina. She's not, this anime is
Sorry,
not about
kid,
her.
You haven't got what it takes.
She didn't care, so honestly. And then he's just like, when can I go home, mom, blah, blah. And then the next act, they're like, by the way, there's another act. And it's just like ripped male ballet dancer doing this like amazing routine. And he's like transfixed by it. And then is like, I want to do ballet. And his parents are a bit kind of like, all right. And his dad's this like martial arts / fight choreographer like guy, like in movies. So his dad's just like really manly kind of like does, and he's okay with it. He's a bit kind of like, oh, ballet, like what? And then the kid doesn't really get that there might be some kind of gender like thing at play. So he's like, let's go. And then when he goes to go to the ballet school, he runs into a group of his friends from school who start making fun of him. And so he goes, oh, like, I don't really want to do it anymore. And then his dad passes away. And he is like, I'm now the man of the family, to look after his sister and his mother. He's like, I can't possibly do something as effeminate as ballet. That's the storyline. So then when it opens, you've got him in high school and he's actually a martial arts champion. So he's this like amazing martial artist. He's super fit, like he's really good. And that's like, he's got like a natural aptitude for things, like, and that's why he channeled it all into martial arts because it was the manly thing to do.
Sure.
And yet he still secretly practices ballet.
I just want to dance.
Yeah,
Ballet.
and it's interesting because what happens is I'll set it up. He is in high school and this very beautiful transfer student, who he's got a bit of a crush on, she starts playing the piano and he does like a variation of a martial arts move, but actually it's a ballet jump. So she's like, and then comes and finds him and she's like, that was amazing. Do you do ballet? And he's like, no, like, well, I would never do that. Like, that's
I
so,
do
that's
dance
so
fighting.
lame. Like,
Baby.
and he's like, oh, boys can't do ballet kind of thing. And then she basically just forces him to the ballet studio. And then he realizes that he gets like more of a joy out of dancing ballet. He's like 13 or 14 in the story than he ever did doing martial arts. And it's really a comment about toxic masculinity. And it's not new ground. This is Billy Elliot, the anime, basically. It's not new ground that's been particularly with dance and that kind of thing. But I think I've never seen an anime that really so intensely like explores that
That's
idea.
pretty interesting, yeah.
And because he is super masculine, this character is really masculine and he still does do, and he's like really popular at school. And there's a juxtaposition. There's another character who's introduced who's been like a ballet prodigy for his whole life. And he openly talks about ballet, but like he gets bullied for it. So it's but then the other guy, Junpei, is kind of like he with all his heart sort of just like, I wish I could just have the bravery just to be like, to say what I want to do. It's really, really good. The one thing I was worried about with watching any kind of ballet or anything like that, and even with Euro and Ice, with the ice skating, obviously Mappa have got great experience in this, they're beautiful at it, but like there's something about the weight of dancing, like where you do a leap and then you got to land it. They do it really well. I think it looks really good.
Okay.
Yeah, the ballet sequences themselves are really well animated. The characters are good. I think I really buy the characters' motivations too. Like I buy that he's not immediately like, he's sort of like, can't I play soccer as well as do ballet kind of thing? And then the teacher's like, if you want to do ballet, you're already starting late. She's like, you've got the perfect, like he's got like perfect
The
feet
physique,
for it
yeah.
and physique for it. And she's like, you actually can't do things like soccer. You can't do taekwondo. You can't do any of this stuff because you will build mass like where you, and that's like, and I feel like I know ballet dancers. And I think this show is really good at just saying how hard it is.
It's so hard.
And I think that this kid is like, she literally is like, you're already too old, really.
Yeah.
She's like, you can give it a shot. But so he's already kind of, I like it's not, I mean, obviously he's going the way he's going to be a prodigy and he's going to fucking probably be the dancer and blah, blah. But I think that it's a good show. And it reminds me of like working hard and like finding a love for it. And like, you know, anime is so unashamed. Like, you know,
It's a sports anime,
he gets
isn't it?
like, yeah, when he gets like the tingle feeling and he like leaps and I'm like, yeah, do it. Like, it's like, it really reminded me of Blue Period in that way, but about dancing as opposed to art.
Yeah.
Okay.
And really similar where someone who has to work against all odds and is willing to work on it. I also like the fact that he's not, you know, he does struggle with the whole, like he struggles about wanting to appear a certain way and what other people think because of a lot more things. It's not just easy as him being like, I'm just going to be myself. He's like, actually, no, I've got this really hectic inbuilt trauma where I think that I have to be masculine, whatever that means. And like, it's a real thing that I'm sure people go through.
I was a theatre boy in high school. And
Were you?
You would never have guessed.
Who'd have guessed? It was and I went to an all boys school, and it was a challenge because like I played sports as well and stuff. I had to navigate that whole thing. You know, I mean, eventually, by the time I was like captain of drama by the end of my years there and stuff. But even by that point, it was sort of
Humble brag.
I was accepted by the end of it. It was like, Sam does drama, right? And he's good at it. You know what I mean? Like, whereas but it took a while. It took a while to like for people to be okay with that. You know, I got bullied for having singing lessons when I was like 14. Absolutely. Like,
so when I was growing up in Scotland, my high school, which was nice with secondary, was conjoined with the Musical Theatre of Scotland and the Royal Ballet Society of Scotland.
Right.
So you've got Glaswegian school kids, middle to lower class, but then you're mixing with the cream of the crop of the Scottish dance sort of world, and they all intermingle. And to see, as you get older, it got a lot better, but to see like how much shit the ballet students would take from, you know, the local ruffians.
It's a
That's
whole
the right
thing.
term.
I know what you mean. Like, yeah.
And then as they get older, like the relationships change, but it's also because all these ballet
Mature.
dancers are at like peak physical form.
Also,
They're all
yeah.
6'4" and ripped, and you're just like, oh, we can't get away with this shit anymore. But
well,
Beat the piss out of
all the dancers
Or
are going
they'll
to
just-
get you.
They'll just wild
Danseurs.
legs.
Dancers, they're going to get you.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, ballet dancers, I think, apart from maybe gymnasts, have the most ridiculous physiques
Oh, it was
in
insane.
the world.
It
Crazy.
was insane.
Even, you know, doing Phantom of the Opera, there's a ballet troupe in it. And so the whole section of the cast are ballet dancers, purely. Like, they barely sing. It's just what they do. So it was a very different experience to see how they functioned
Oh, the physical toll.
in amongst, you know, a musical theatre show. We'd be doing all our musical theatre bullshit, and they'd be doing like, they're there. Hello. And
Hello, my baby.
but you know, they're in there like 2 hours early, and they're warming up, and they're doing classes, and they're like, it's so
Yeah, because you can't exactly stop. Like,
you can't. And like, and also Phantom's like a blow off for a ballet dancer. You know what I mean? It's like they just make some money and go and do real ballet. You know, it's not real ballet. Like, you know, it's a little. This is money. You know, this isn't real
I don't know
ballet.
anything about ballet.
Yeah, but it's
Swan Lake.
That's
about
that's
it.
one.
That's
Yes.
all I got.
that's the main storyline of this is like he's going to dance the prince
Of
solo
course.
with the girl.
Right. So
And
this is
the
it.
rival is playing the demon in it.
So this sounds sick.
It's so good. No, I
You're an
recommend
ass, but
it.
in ballet. But I mean, you know,
Yeah, I feel like when I watch this stuff, and particularly when it talks about gender, as a female, I guess you could I was into the arts, and that was just a weird thing that was accepted by everyone.
Yes.
You know, it's like if you're a girl, it's fine. Like on a basic level, we're talking binaries here, but like the show is, it's not groundbreaking and it's not new. But it's not new, but I think it's still really relevant and interesting. And also just like, it's nice to see. And it's a very easy show to watch.
Yeah.
The character design's cool. They all look great. The dancing looks great. I mean, MAP is a good studio, but they know what they're doing. If you liked Blue Period, which I recommended last time, I reckon this is the one for you.
Cool. Right on. Great. What else have you been watching this season?
So I was tasked with watching Tomodachi Game, which is average.
Yeah. A death match.
It's
no.
Well, this is the thing.
That's what I thought it was.
So it's
when I tasked
it's in that vein of
I'll take it away from you now.
I'm wrong.
The reason I say it's not a death match, I watched 3 episodes and no one's died.
Right, okay.
So it's about this
it's a slow burn death
It's
match.
a very slow burn. Next episode might be a massacre. I don't fucking know.
That's all.
So it's about the main character is called Yuichi. He's the poor kid who has to work for everything. And then he's sort of saving towards they're going on a school trip, which I don't know where it's on. They don't even explain where it is, but it costs like 2 million yen to go.
Okay.
And then suddenly the 2 million yen is stolen and no one knows who took it. Even though they gave the 2 million yen to this one high school chick. And I was like, why has she got 2 million yen for the high school trip? Surely that should go to a teacher.
Yeah.
No one addresses that. But yeah, then they wake up in a mysterious room that looks like a classroom or a school type setting. And then there's this little, I don't even know what he is. He's a short fella, big head. And he's
smile.
the sort of big smile. He's the, he sets the rules and he's the guy who like makes all the
game
jokes.
master kind of
But
thing.
he's not funny. He's not cute. He looks shit.
He's terrifying in a way. Not
Is this
terrifying.
like Danganronpa? Is it the same thing?
Seems like it.
Similar.
So then they're sort of saying like, oh yeah, like one of you stole the 2 million yen. Like it's a group of friends. They're all best friends. They grew up, and the whole sort of thing is like, will they remain friends after everything is revealed?
Of course.
Fuck. But then they're just heaped on with more debt. It was like, so one of you owes 20 million yen. We're not going to tell you who it is, but someone has a reason to win this game. Everyone else has the debt of this money that went missing. Through these games, you'll either acquire more debt or you'll, by fucking people over, you'll lessen your debt. So they all have these like digital counters on them, which say their name, but on the backside is how much they owe.
So it's deathmatch through finance.
Yeah, pretty much. It's
That sounds like my life.
It's deathmatch by
just me-
shit economics.
Me trying to live in my 20s.
Let's say
through 30s,
capitalism,
but I
baby.
So the first game is there's like big coin in the middle and they all have to put a finger on it and they sort of drag it to answer a yes or no question.
Right.
They're not allowed to speak. The only person allowed to speak is the person who has the question. And the questions are like, is Mount Fuji the biggest mountain in Japan? And they have to answer yes, and they answer no. But then when they're reading the cards, they actually see that there's more stipulations, but they're not allowed to say what the stipulations are. So you can start to fuck people over to like pass debt on and stuff.
Okay.
And all the games are sort of based around that sort of thing of you do something, you lessen your burden, you increase the burden of someone else, but everyone's sort of playing that sort of game.
Okay. That
And are
sounds
they
pretty-
kids playing it?
They're
Like high
kids, they're
schoolers?
high schoolers.
High schoolers,
So
okay.
you've got the shy
How much
girl.
money could you owe? Like,
Well, one of them was 20 million yen. I don't know how
what
much
are
that
you
is.
doing, babe? Get
I
off.
don't know. I don't know. I wanted to look
Get
it
off
up.
the NFTs, not good.
I don't know how much
Stop.
20 million yen is, but it sounds like a lot.
Sounds like a lot. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how the games are set. I don't know, because I'm only 3 episodes in. I don't know if it's going to get to the point where you're at that Squid Game sort of dynamic where it's
Right.
like,
Dying and stuff.
this person's going to die.
Mm.
The
So
high
deathmatch
schools.
setup, but not
I don't
actual
know.
deathmatch.
I don't know. We're not far enough in to know if any of the games, they all seem very financial based. And
Right.
I think this sort of the whole idea of Tamagotchi games is sort of remaining friends.
Right.
But these games are going to stretch your
Friendship.
ability to stay with friends and your belief in your
Yeah.
friends.
There's a famous manga series called Liar Game, which sounds literally like this.
Oh, it probably is.
Yeah.
That I
probably
love.
is.
But that's to do with like, it's like people who are like adults getting into it, and you get like opportunities to play these, like similar to Kaiji as well. Actually,
Okay, yeah.
there's more like, so it's like deathmatch style, but more like financial
Financial death,
Because
yeah.
Kaiji's about that too. He just has to get out of his debt by
There's a
playing
sub-
his game.
There's a subgenre of deathmatch called financial
And
death.
Squid Game just combined them both.
Yeah, there you go.
Financial death.
Financial death. It's a
It's-
real thing, people. Don't worry about that.
Well, in the first game, it's pretty much just them in a classroom and they sort of do their thing and then it goes awry.
Mm.
The second game is they're on a rooftop and they have this little box off the side and you have cards and you write a secret about someone. And then the more juicy the secret is, like about, so say if I was to write something about Sam,
Yeah.
it's like Sam doesn't like wearing shorts because he's got chicken legs.
That's true.
Then there's actually people watching it and they vote and like, that's a really juicy subject. You get this much, so you get to advance across the board.
Can you do your own secret?
You can. But
I
depending
owe
on
20 million yen.
Yeah.
You're the
Done.
star of the show.
Depending on, but then you can also do blank cards.
Oh.
The blank cards, everyone just moves forward one, which was their plan. They're like, let's just do blank cards. We'll all get to there at the same point.
But someone can't help themselves.
Yeah, because the whole fucking thing is the relationship, the interpersonal relationship between someone's like, this guy secretly likes this girl, and this girl secretly hates that girl because of something. So that sort of plays into it.
I kind of
It just sounds kind of cool, man.
Like
I am
it's
such a sucker for
it
this.
sucks, but it's good, and it sucks, and it sucks, but it's good. And it's good because it sucks.
Yeah.
Like, it's
It's like
one of
Hero.
the secrets that came out, and I was like, I didn't know what it was. It turns out like one of the young girls did compensative dating,
Okay.
which I didn't know what it was. I was like, what the fuck? And she's screaming and crying because this is a big secret is revealed. It basically turns out it's like softcore prostitution.
Oh. Like a call girl kind of thing.
Yeah, because the age of consent in Japan was so low for a while that you
not
could pretty much rent a high school girl to go on dates.
God.
And the whole thing is supposed to be like, you go to a movie, you go
It's like Rent a Girlfriend.
shops, like Rent a Girlfriend type stuff. But
Yeah.
obviously there is that sort of darker side of things.
Yeah.
Of course.
And that was one of the secrets that came out. And this girl was absolutely devastated.
Fair enough.
And I didn't know what it was. I had to look it up. I was like, I don't know what this is. Girl freaking out. I don't know what this is. And I looked down. I was like, oh
Now
shit,
you're on a list.
Jesus, yeah.
this is horrific.
Yeah, fuck. Wow.
So it's I think if you've watched Squid Game, you're like, this is pretty tame.
It's tame
because
Squid
no
Game,
one's
yeah.
Falling from a bridge through glass
God, it's
to
a
the
savage
death. So,
fucking-
but it might go that way. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
right.
too early to tell.
Okay. There's only
It's
3 episodes
more-
so far, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's more psychological. It's more about stretching what a friendship is.
Okay.
This
So-
Windows still
sounds so much like Liar Game.
It
I think at
probably
Liar
is.
Game
It
is that they
probably
get
is.
the option to leave at the end of the game and everyone always comes back because they want money.
Like
or
Squid
like-
Game.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Well, Squid Game definitely borrowed a lot from Liar Game and
Oh, yeah.
from Alice in Borderland
Oh,
and from everything.
All,
but yeah.
all of those
I
shows.
think
Yeah.
the whole
But no deaths, like they don't get
aspect
killed.
Yeah, right.
that keeps them all in place is the money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, because they're all in minus by the first game of
Yeah,
400,000 yen. Again, I don't know the conversion.
Is anyone killing it? Like, just
No. one of the guys freaks me out. Well, he doesn't freak me out, but he's a high school student, but he's got the deepest baritone voice you've ever heard of. He's like, and I'm like, you're not a high school kid. Just a random dude in a uniform. That's
Hello,
stereotypes.
fellow children.
So no one's really winning the game so far, but they're just like manipulation.
Okay.
With this.
Just-
Like,
you know what?
You remember I
might
like you,
watch
right?
it.
I'm gonna watch
Yeah,
this.
I'm actually gonna watch
you,
it.
You've sold me, even though you haven't sold
You were
yourself.
like, this
You
show
sold
is
us.
bad.
You
I was
sold the
like,
Devonports.
sign me up.
We're in.
Give me some trash.
It's
the
intriguing enough. I'll
trash,
give it a few more episodes.
I think you secretly like it.
I don't know if I like it. That's
I can
probably
tell
the
that he
issue.
doesn't like it.
I don't know if I do.
I don't know.
I don't know if I do yet.
Interesting.
The compensative dating thing was like, what the fuck's that? I'll keep
Yeah.
watching for that. Yeah, I don't know if it's a deaf game though. That's the thing.
Nah, it doesn't count.
No, well, I suppose
it's like a game.
It's a game.
It's a game.
It's a
financial
twisted game.
Twisted game.
But then again, as I said, next episode it could be an absolute massacre.
Yeah.
Like
It'll be like one of the players
Yeah.
kills someone
Yeah,
and they're like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
they'll be like, oh god, how can we go on? We're still
Interesting.
friends. The power of friendship.
Nakama.
Yeah.
Well, look, very interesting. Tomodachi Game. If that sounds interesting to you, sounds interesting to me. I'm going to watch it.
I would give it a crack. I'd give it
Yeah.
at least. I'd give it at least
How
to
many
the fourth
gateways?
episodes. How many gateways?
Yeah.
I'd say we're still in the middle.
In the middle. 5. Okay.
Because we're at episode 3. Everything at episode 3 is just like
unless you're
place setting.
Unless you're
and-
Spy X
yeah.
Family.
Yeah,
you know.
it's like 10.
Yeah.
top
8, 9. Yeah.
tier.
Yeah.
Top tier. Okay. So speaking of shows which are trash, but I'm well into, and like proven formulas, which again, for whatever reason, just keep hooking me back. This is a show called Ashi. Now, this is a seinen sports manga series written by Naochiko Ueno and Yugo Kobayashi. Kobayashi does all the illustrations. So it started serialization in Japan in January 2015 in Shogakukugan's Big Comic Spirits and has over 9 million copies in circulation as of October last year. Also, a spin-off manga focuses on Ashito's brother, Shun, titled Aoashi Brother Foot, which began last year in 2021, which is July 2021. This is a sports anime. Ashito Ao is a young, aspiring soccer player from a backwater town in Japan. His hopes of potentially joining an elite high school on a soccer scholarship are dashed when he loses his cool during a tournament game where all the scouts are present, when another player deliberately tries to put him off because he's killing it by talking trash about his single working class mother, resulting in Ashito headbutting him and being red carded, resulting in his team ultimately being smashed because they're a good player. However, the manager of a top J-League club's youth team, Tokyo City Esperon FC, the manager's name Tatsuo Fukuda, sees extreme potential in Ashito and invites him to try out for their team. This is just ticking every box. He is a genius player, but he won't pass the ball. And he's like, I'll do it all myself, but then he realizes that actually, because he's the best player on the team, he realizes that his teammates were the reason that he could play the way that he wanted because they understood him.
Isn't this haiku?
It's everything. It's haiku soccer. And hook it to my phones. It's so formulaic. It is just every trope. And I'm just like, yes.
Yeah.
Hell yes. And of course, the manager of the youth team was once the great Japanese player who went to Spain and was about to be the next superstar, but then did his knee.
Spain.
And Spain's huge soccer.
As a European, I know, but
Yeah,
I've never seen a
I do,
Japanese person in Spain.
Well, yes. Well, apparently he was one of them.
Right.
In this fictional world. And, he was playing for a huge club and then, of course, got shockingly injured. And, but now he's come back and he's like, no, I want to make Japan a soccer superpower. I'm going to raise the next generation to be the superstar generation. We're going to be on the world stage. You come with me. You have potential. It's all that stuff.
Are they all high school students?
They're all high school. It's all youth team. There's only 2 episodes at the time of recording that have come out. And the second episode he's tried out and he was stinking. But he did this one thing.
What was that one thing?
One thing he did, which made every coach be like, interesting. And he's the backwater angry kid, but lives for soccer, lives for it, like they all do.
Is soccer big in Japan?
Yeah,
I know
they got a
rugby's
World Cup
huge.
team.
And baseball and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Baseball's their national sport.
Which is so bizarre, but I guess
bizarre.
the American sort of World War II sort of.
That's exactly right. Japan is a national sport technically. Rugby's big, obviously. Volleyball is quite large. But not as big as
called the haiku, but who knows?
Yeah, called the haiku, but no, it's big. It's not a huge international thing. But who's into volleyball really? In what country? Brazil. Yeah. They're more into soccer.
Is Australia into volleyball?
Well, I mean,
beach volleyball.
Funny enough, Gerald Lillywhite, who has been on this podcast many times, his brother played for the Australian youth team in volleyball.
Which character is he from Haikyuu?
Kind of Tsukishima, I guess.
Good on him.
I can see that.
But yeah, so this is actually produced by Production IG, who of course made Haikyuu and Kuroko no Basket, Moriarty the Patriot, Psycho Pass, many, many things. But these guys know how to make sports shows, okay? And it looks fantastic. It looks great. And like I said, at the moment it's only been 2 episodes. It's tropey as hell, but I'm fucking here for it, man. I'm here for it. He's basically Hinata from Haikyuu, but a little bit more brazen.
Yeah, okay.
Less wholesome.
When was it written, sorry?
2015 was when it started
quite
its
new.
serialization. Yeah, it's quite new. But 9 million copies in circulation. It's popular.
It's popular, but there's another soccer manga.
I was
out there.
about to say.
The big one.
Why hasn't that been made yet?
It's being made this year. It's coming out this year.
Yeah, sorry, Aoashi. You might be outdone by
Aoashi's
Blue
good.
Lock.
What were the 2
Blue Lock,
basketball animes? There was
Kuroko no Basket and Slam Dunk.
Yeah,
Iconic.
I
Slam
feel
Dunk
like
is 90s though. It's proper OG.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be the similar situation where this anime is going to be here and then Blue Lock's going to come out and people are like, fuck
so
that shit.
there is a manga which is unfathomably popular in Japan and amongst anyone who reads manga called Blue Lock. And again, it's not a death match at all, but it's kind of set up as in a setting of Japan needs a new striker. Let's put all the best strikers into this deathmatch setting where no one dies, but it's a match of and they're eliminated.
It's called tournament.
Tournament you're looking for. The word is tournament.
I prefer deathmatch.
Competition. Death match. Die for soccer.
Live and die for soccer, man. That's what I'm after. I want passion, So
Don't you hate soccer?
I'm not a soccer fan at all, but you put it in an anime form and you run it through the Haikyuu prism. I'm fucking livid.
That already sounds better than Haikyuu.
Don't ever say that again. Don't say crazy things you can't take back, Charlie.
Isn't Blue Lock considered as good as Haikyuu in terms of manga?
Well, it remains to be seen. But yes.
I can't wait till
so.
Sam
I enjoy Blue Lock.
watches
I've read
Blue
a
Lock.
lot of Blue Lock, and it's pretty good.
Look, apparently,
Like,
Sam's going to come out
I
saying
haven't
it's
seen
the
anyone die in
undisputed
it yet,
king
though. So.
of sports anime.
anime.
King
You've
of
gotta-
sports anime.
You've got to do a pretty big job to unseat the undisputed king of sports
anime?
which is
Haikyuu?
obviously Haikyuu. Come on.
Mate.
I thought it
Close.
was
Dance.
Dance.
Honestly, no, I love
What
it.
about fucking boxing one?
Megalo Box.
Yeah, what is that not the
Megalobox.
Megalobox isn't close. Like, it's good, but that's a slice of life, really.
And that they've got robot arms
Yeah,
as well.
they got robot arms.
That's
That's slice of life and sports. But no, Hajime no Ippo is very famous too, and
Yeah.
and really, really good. An OG, a bit like Slam Dunk, like really, really fantastic. In fact, Slam Dunk,
But Haikyuu is
Haikyuu's the best.
Yeah,
by far.
right, okay.
It's one of my favorite. It's one of my top 3 shows of all time. Full stop. Let alone sport. Don't get me started. How many times have I talked about this? I'm not going to do this again.
it better than the Shield?
Yes.
Oh, someone to get Michael Chiklis in here.
God.
Get Michael on the phone.
He's been Isekai.
Round him
He's
up. No
somewhere
one's seen him
else.
for
Like,
years, and now he's going to come out and get furious at me. But
Gotta hope Michael Chiklis shows up in Blue Lock.
Blue Lock is and that's I believe coming this year, possibly early next year.
Are there some people who like back AO? Is that like a fandom?
Oh, it's a huge
war?
fandom. Yeah.
Is there like a war though between
haven't
Blue Lock?
checked.
Yeah, but I can't wait for the crossover episode where the teams play each other.
Imagine.
Oh,
Could you
my God.
imagine?
Oh, and they're all screaming at each other about random bullshit in
Random
the past.
bullshit. Well, actually, Hajime Isayama, obviously Attack on Titan's creator, rated Blue Lock as his favorite manga. I think around this time last year.
Yeah, right.
He was asked, "So, what's your favorite manga at the moment?" It's like Blue Lock, no question. So, like, it's going to be a whole thing when it does happen. But Aoishi, it's good. It's like I say, if you're a fucking basic bitch like me and you just like sports shows, check it out. If it sounds really generic and basic, it is, and you don't need to watch it. But you know what? It ticks every box. So take that as you will. Charlotte, what are you watching?
All right, I'm going to briefly mention that Kaguya Sama season 3 is currently out, and it's just as good, if not better, than it was the last 2 seasons. I've talked about it for a while. It's Kaguya Sama Lovers War. I won't go in too much into it just because we've already covered it, but I do think that it is absolutely worth watching. If you haven't watched from the beginning, please do. But you can also watch it randomly. It's very episodic. The way it's like structured is just kind of 3 little tiny episodes, and it's like snapshots of the lives of the Zany Student Council. But the way that it's done, it's actually probably the funniest. It's actually funnier than Spy Family.
Really?
It's way more of a comedy though. It's like
Yeah,
a
that's true, yeah.
full balls out comedy.
It's a high school.
And it's just
romance
funny
comedy.
because the characters even look similar. Like
Yeah,
Shirogane and Lloyd look alike. Yor and Kaguya look alike. And I'm
True.
like, it's just like them, they got older or something. Like I kind of like, in my head, I'm like,
they
they're
actually
going
did
older.
a crossover recently.
Someone drew it. Yeah, I
someone
saw
drew
it.
it,
And
yeah.
I was like, someone beat me to it. I was going to do it.
Bastards.
My amazing art skills. But I will talk about one that I watched because, again, I was like, this could be interesting from a gender standpoint. This one's called Shikimori is Not Just a Cutie.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't know what this is. But I clicked on it and was like, And I watched it.
This exists.
And the premise is that there's a protagonist, and honestly, I don't know his name because he is kind of really unforgettable, but he is just a second-year high school student who has some really bad luck. So the opening sequence is him, like, getting out of bed, like, falling over, like, and his parents being like, please don't die on your way to school. Literally, like, he gets, like, things will fall, and he gets, like, falls out, like, a bird poos on him, and he's just like, oh. And then he gets to school, and he's this, like, beautiful girl is waiting for him. That's Shikimori, who is his girlfriend. So he's got this, like, beautiful, very popular girlfriend.
You're right.
And and that's actually really sweet. Like, you know, they're actually really nice couple. They get there and they like see if they're in the same class together, and they are. And she's just as excited as he is. Then there's like a cut to them walking, and a truck comes and is about to hit him, and she just like does this super cool like dodge thing and like slams against the wall, and she like is animated to look all cool and stuff. And her name's Shikimori. So Shikimori is not just a cutie, is that she's actually this like total badass. And everything she does is super fucking cool.
Okay.
But it's not very ladylike. So she's always like, oh, there's like a sequence where they go bowling. The girl's like, oh, I'm so bad at bowling. And one of them pulls aside. They're like, if you want to impress your boyfriend, you should be like, it's super cute to like not be good at bowling. And then her boyfriend gets up and he's terribly bad because he's so bad at everything. And then she gets the world record score and looks really cool doing it. And then, but what I love is that he's not like threatened at all. He like loves it. He's like, she's so cool. Like he's like starts to
That's
clap and he's
awesome.
like, my girlfriend is so cool.
That's
the
good.
whole storyline.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. And it's like very different to what you would usually see. And like it's played
Yes.
for gags that she's just awesome and she's really cool. She's a badass. That's the whole thing. She's not just a cutie. She's also a total badass and
great.
is really,
I like it.
yeah.
That sounds really fun.
It is fun. I would say that it's unfortunately in a season that's pretty packed with some good comedy. It's funny, but that's kind of all. I wasn't compelled to watch any further than 2 episodes. I was kind of like, and also I don't love the way they've animated the eyes. They look really creepy and vacant. It's beautiful, like it's a beautiful looking show, and it's got a huge fan base in the manga. People really like it. I do think it's an interesting twist, and it's like, we love a self-aware piece. We love a bit of meta, and at the moment, I love the protagonist's reaction of being super into it is great, because I think that like in other series, like
Be super threatened and salty.
yeah, but she's obviously. There's a bit of a thing where people are like, why is she dating him? Like kind of vibe. But she super loves him, and like they're actually a really nice couple. And they're a couple from the start, and they're not afraid of being a couple. They're not like, oh my God, I'm blushing. They're cute. They're like a bit shy because they're fucking 13 or 14 or whatever, but they're not like they're together already. And that's always nice to see, because usually in anime it's like we waited for 50 episodes and they held hands or had an indirect kiss.
They do that thing on the bus where like 2 fingers touch.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Or the indirect kiss is so weird.
That's a real trope which shouldn't be one.
Now it's like in the COVID age, the indirect kiss is just problematic. You're like, oh my God, like what? Like just the trope is ruined.
It's over.
And I'm a big sucker for romance stuff. Like actually not. So I don't really watch much romance in terms of like, I wouldn't watch a romance movie that came out, like an American romance movie really. I would have no interest. But for some reason, any like anime romance or like J-drama and like K-drama romance, which are the most tropey, ridiculous, so far removed from my life thing, I will watch the shit out of. Like I watched the best one on Netflix. I watched A Business Proposal. And it was number 3 in Australia. Like it did fucking well. Like South Korean J-drama.
Indecent Proposal.
No, K-drama. But it's like a classic trope. And I was watching this being like, man, because I've read so much shoujo, it's like the same thing. Like that kind of, like it's like my billionaire playboy boss randomly proposed to me for like, so, like it's just so weird. But I was like, excellent.
Sold.
I love it.
I'm in.
See, yep.
Romance, K-drama, J-drama, anime is to you what trashy sports anime is to me.
100%.
Like, that's just,
What's the haiku of trashy romance anime?
Kaguya,
right?
It's
not trashy, but Fruits Basket is
there it is.
How dare you?
What's the trashy one though?
The trashy? What? Haiku's not trashy either.
Yeah.
However.
Sounds trashy.
You've watched it.
What are we talking about?
Haiku.
Oh yeah. Sorry. What's the other volleyball one? Is that right?
Oh yeah,
there's another one. But no one cares.
Or do they? We don't know.
The biking club is like pedaling. There's so many.
There's so many, man. Like there are sports animes for days. We've done an episode of this back in season 1, but like just watch Haiku.
I can't think of like. I think I prefer the trashy live action dramas. I don't think there's not that many rom-com animes really that are actually fully rom-com. Like they're quite it takes so long for the characters to get together that you kind of it's like Toradora, all those classics, School Rumble. They were pretty funny. Kaguya Sama's great though.
Yeah, so you fully suggest Kaguya Sama.
Oh, 100%. Also, Shikimori no Cutie is great as well, but I think that you might only enjoy it if you've watched a lot of anime.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think it's as successful, whereas I think Kaguya Sama is just actually funny. Like the way that the setup is and the way it's done, it's beautifully animated, very well acted, very well directed, and just funny. Like it's just objectively hilarious.
Well, that is our pick of the bunch of spring 2022. It's a pretty decent season actually. Like we've had a few weak ones. I mean, this one has been carried a lot by some big, heavy-hitting sequels. Obviously, Shield Hero, Kaguya Sama, and of course one new Spy Family, which is just leaving everything in its dust.
Have we got a shonen trash one?
Oh, not really. One of the first times in a while, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, I always, whenever we do this episode, I always go home and then look up what we haven't watched and find a gem. So we'll probably bring that up later.
I'm sure. Like when I missed Ranking of Kings,
which is now one of my favorite shows ever.
Ooh. So good. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like, the good thing about doing these episodes for us is that like it also makes us go and watch so many different things. And look, even if we come to it later, we'll let you know. Don't worry. If there's one takeaway from this, watch Spy Family. I'm sure you are already, but if you aren't, do it. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to definitely watch Tomodachi Game myself. That's all I've
cool.
taken
Let me
something
know
away
how it
from
goes.
this. Yeah.
Oh my God, watch Kaguya Sama.
Yeah, I know.
But
I'm not going to
watch Fruits Basket. Is that what you're going to say?
No, I mean, definitely do that.
Yes, I know.
I'm not going to watch yourself.
I have a list. You don't have to.
I'm waiting for Blue Lock.
Blue Lock sounds sick.
I'm not swallowing myself with some past sock.
I can't wait for this one to be the secret better one. Like, I love that.
It is. I'll come back and I'll be like,
look, we'll see. Right. Like I said, maybe I've only watched 2 episodes. There are only 2 episodes out. Maybe it falls apart. But it's fun at the moment. It's, it's not going to change anyone's lives, but it's fun. All right. That is our spring 2022 season roundup. Get amongst it. And if you've got any shows that you're watching, let us know. We'd love to check it out too. Before we leave, I'd like to thank our patrons. Of course, that is Curtis, that is Grant, that is Stuart, that is Dom, Christian, Caroline, Samantha, and Alex. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Catch you next time. This is a little bonus episode. We're going to take a little bit of a break. Actually, there will be some bonus content coming out for the patrons. However, we'll see you guys in a little while. We're just going to take a little break, figure out our next season, and we'll be back with more podcast content. But if you want to follow us on our Instagram, we'll be producing content on YouTube, on social media in the meantime. So we'll catch you next time. All the best.
Thank you.
Bye.